Hi, thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm JB Bryan, the President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group. And today we're going to talk about lessons that we can learn when we study the artist known as Prince. You know, we know Prince, and we lost him last week, and he has quite a legacy, quite a commitment to music, quite a musician, a humanitarian. From everything that I know about him, I admire him. There's a lot of information that's coming out, though, about financial issues surrounding his estate. So we're going to talk about what Prince would want us to learn from his. I think that in everything there's a lesson. I think that he is the type of person that really tried to teach us a lot, who every time I saw him interviewed, there was a lesson in each statement that he shared. So we're going to talk today about financial lessons that we can learn from Prince and his estate. And we're going to also want to encourage you, before I go on, to please subscribe to the channel. I do these financial discussions, workshops. I'm here. We have live participants. We have participants on the conference call. And I want you to also put in your comments. And hopefully, if you email me or put in a comment and I'm able to respond, I will share it on the air next week. So I really appreciate your feedback from James Cheatham, from a young brother in Miami. James Cheatham is in Atlanta, Georgia, and a brother in Atlanta sent me an email on some private financial issues. And a lot of you have some things that we can share, that you could share, that I could give you some feedback on. I'd be happy to help you. jb@jbbryan.com. or jb@afroeconomics.com. And I am JB Bryan with AfroEconomics, and each week I'm here to share some things. And there's an app, AfroEconomics, which is free. So download it so you can watch and participate through your phone. Make life easy for you. Check out AfroEconomics.com and become a member. And we're at the top of May, we're starting our conference calls. So for members only. So I want you to participate, but we'll still have these Wednesday sessions that are available to you via conference call, live on YouTube, and the Saturday workshops that we get to spend the day together. So let's talk about Prince and the financial things that you can learn from. There's so much power in him as a person, and unfortunately, we really don't show true appreciation for each other sometimes until we're gone, until we pass on. But I believe that we all live forever. I believe that, especially if we make a commitment to helping others while we're living, that our legacy and our lessons of our life can continue to empower people for generations to forward. So here's some lessons that I gathered, some power that I've gathered from Prince. Some key points I wanted to share that that I learned from Prince: that a will is not everything. There's a lot of different things that we can do with our funds. So a will indeed is important, but when the media keeps pushing out that there was no will, Prince left no will. There's a lot of other things. He had trusts, he had foundations, he had beneficiaries, most likely had accounts with transfers on debt set up. So to just say, and we don't really know if that's true also. So, but definitely, if that is the case, that there is no will, we're going to talk extensively about things that we need to prepare prior to our death, things that we need to do. That a will is one of them, but it in no way is everything that we have to do before we die while we're living. And also, I am encouraged and motivated by Prince that he owned his own business. He took his entity, his music, very seriously. So I believe that business ownership, creating an entity for your business, and handling your business documents properly is very important. He became a recording artist very young, and he studied the business and learned that it was important for him to own his own music, to own the assets. I really admire him that he took the time and even slowed down his career and didn't focus as much on just making that quick money, but he focused on developing and growing and creating an empire. Important. He invested in himself. He invested in me all the time in becoming better at his craft. Even prior days before passing, he was still practicing, he was still performing. I mean, how powerful that is, to still build your brand and to still until our last day be about work. It's a lot of times we hear the major goal in life is to stop work, but I believe that if we develop a true purpose and what we feel that we're here for, and we allow ourselves to live that, we're not going to think about stopping work. We're going to think about, how can I do this better? How can I help more people? You're not going to think about the end all the time. You're going to think about every day as a new beginning, a new opportunity to help someone and to entertain someone, to empower someone. And then also, that I learned from Prince, that beware of what you sign. That I saw Prince being interviewed on the Today Show, I believe it was, one time, and he said, your friend is not on your payroll. And that was the lesson that he learned from thinking that just because this person was friendly to him, that he would go ahead and sign the documents, and he felt like, you know, they were friendly, so they would not do anything that would harm you because they were so friendly. But that is not your friend. They were on your payroll. That was your his staff. That was someone that was getting paid by him. So he realized that just because they were friendly, that was not his friend, and that you have to be careful, because when they're on your payroll, that is where they are. They might actually say yes to you too often, because their income depends on what they think. They may have to agree with you all the time, and he may have realized that, but the statement was, he said, your friend is not on your payroll. And I think that there's a lesson in that for everyone who owns their own business, is building their own business, and sometimes decides to mix business with pleasure. There may be the lesson in that don't do that. Don't do that. So then also, we're going to look at the 10 things that I think that you must do. We must do now. Tomorrow is promised to no one. And these are some things that from what we see as untimely death, but we know that no one dies until it's their time to go. So I guess we should all live each day like it's our last. We don't know. So these are some things that we should do today financially to prepare our money to live beyond us. Let's make an inventory. Let's make an inventory, make a list of everything that you have. Make a list of all your furniture, your cars, your televisions, your jewelry, everything that you have, your books, everything that you have. Make a list of the inventory that you have. And then also make a list of all of the financial accounts that you have. You know, your IRAs, retirement accounts that you may have at different employers. It's time to get things really organized, and you don't have to, you know, of course, I hope that you're not on your deathbed, because that's not when you do this. We do this while we're happy and healthy, and that you just get an organized list of a snapshot of today. This is what you have right now, and then so you get the list of all of your inventory for your household and your business and everything, just list of items that you own, list of accounts that you own, and then a list of debts that you have. So make these lists, and this is what we're learning from Prince on how to keep everything organized. This is what we're going to do, because we just don't know what's going to happen. So if anything happened to you, your family is going to have a list of your items that you own, a list of the financial accounts that you have, and a list of the debts that you have. There also are going to need, you're going to need to send that list of all these things. Keep a copy for yourself, send a copy to whomever you have decided that is going to be the executor of your estate. If something were to happen to you, this is the contact person. Make sure they have that list of information, that what you put together, send them a copy. And then you want to make sure that we update our beneficiaries. Because even, like, just say, that if it's true, if the reports are true that, Prince didn't have a will, but he had these retirement accounts that had these beneficiaries that were designated on the retirement account. So he could have like the bulk of his assets in accounts that have beneficiaries designated. So it's, the things that needed to be in a will, the actual beneficiary forms, contracts that you may have on investment accounts, those supersede what's on the will anyway, because that is a contract of when you sign something that has a beneficiary designated. Another tip is to consider, while I'm talking about beneficiaries, it's a good time to talk about this. This is number 7. We were up to number 5 with beneficiaries, but if I skip to number 7 that I have it down, is to look at transfer on death accounts. So that's like your regular investment account could have a transfer on death designated in that. So it doesn't have to go through the probate court to go through the will process. It's just set up. So hey, what about Prince could have all of his accounts set up with the transfer on death? So for the people who think, they want to get everything through the will, he has beneficiaries, he has transfers on death set up. So boom, he outsmarted you again. What about this? Update. We want to make sure, and this is number 6. We did number 7 already. Number 6 is to update your life insurance policy beneficiaries. Update any annuities that you have designated on beneficiaries. You want that, those are also contracts as well. So you could say my life insurance policy goes to XYZ person on your will, but on that actual life insurance policy, that is the contract, and whoever you have designated as the beneficiary, that supersedes anything that's in that will. That is a contract on that policy. So update. Don't think that on your will you can change your beneficiary for your annuities and life insurance and IRAs and things like that. No, they have to be directly done with that particular account. So update all of your beneficiaries, update your life insurance and annuities, and then consider the transfer on death accounts. They can even be done for checking accounts. So talk to your financial advisor about transfer on death, sometimes called TOD accounts, investigate those. And then an 8th tip, some things, either things that we need to do to make sure our money lives on forever, right? We need to, remember I spoke about the estate administrator, or having the person that you send a copy of all these documents to. How do you choose that person? Well, this person is very important, and it's a lot of responsibility, The executor, the estate administrator, is the person that you feel will make sure that what you say you want done in that will, especially because remember those contracts supersede that, but your will say this is the administrator or executor of my estate, and that person has a lot of responsibility. Sometimes I've met people who say, well, I know that they will want me to do this. That if it's not written there, you cannot assume that that's what they will want you to do. So you want to pick a person who's not going to say, oh, I know that they will want me to do that. No, what they're doing is what they want to do, but what they're supposed to do is what you said, correct? So make sure that you pick a responsible, sound-minded person who knows how to follow instructions, and most specifically knows how to follow your instructions. and is willing to do it. And so, and that's important too, because administering an estate can be real sticky. So it has to be a strong person, not a person that would just give up. Because I've seen people that would just give up and turn it over to the county or the city and say, I can't deal with these people. They keep coming at me, trying to get me to do things. So you want to make sure that there's a person who really can stick it out and can stand up to possible family members that might say, wait a minute, I know they left me something. You know, if you didn't, you didn't. If it's not there, it's not there. And you want that type of person to be on board. And then a nice tip is to indeed write a will. Go to an estate attorney, go to your financial advisor, and talk to them about how is the proper way for me to write a will. Now, granted, I must say that there are people who are doing their will on some of these legal websites, and they are doing it correctly. They are following the steps. It's just like doing your tax return yourself, but you've got to be careful and you've got to follow the instructions. And whatever it says do it. Or if you're not going to follow the instructions, please go to an attorney and get your will done properly. If you want to save some money and you're willing to do it correctly and take the time, then go through use one of the online legal companies. And I don't want to say one because I have one that just quickly comes to my mind, but you have to use who you want to use. And then if you need help, because I'm an advocate of, I like to do my own taxes because I like to make sure that I'm understanding things that I'm advising my clients on. So I like getting into the nitty gritty and doing it. And I always, discover new ideas and things like that. But you might not be that kind of person who likes to go in and write your own legal documents. My last will update was done with an attorney. I'm not sure that I will use an attorney for my next one, because for me, my estate to me is pretty simple, but it can become complicated when you have blended families and things like that. According to some reports, it said that Prince has like 5 half siblings and 1 whole sister. I think she's his whole sister. She's the one that went down to the courthouse in Minnesota. And in Minnesota, your half siblings and your whole are seen as your siblings. There's no, this is a half sibling, so they get less and things like that. So if indeed there's no will, you have to go to the courthouse as the sister did and list everyone that you think that is involved in this particular estate, and go through the probate courts and the process, and there'll be a legal process, and they will assign someone to your particular estate, and it will take a long time, a lot more time than it would that if you actually have a will, and the will says this, and this, and this is who it goes to and how it's going to be done. So if there is no will, if these reports are true and there is no will for Prince, then remember, we have all of these contracts and possible foundations that we know he had, and that may have legal documents that say that this goes to the foundation upon my death, and they may have trusts that are established upon death, and you may have a lot of things that, and then the will is just that which is left over that doesn't have contracts attached to it. Those extra assets that may not have a transfer on death listed, may not have a beneficiary listed, may not have, you may have something on documentation that says this mansion goes to this entity upon my death. It might be written in a trust document or things like that. So this is going to become very complicated if there is no will, and if there's people that are actually depending on or have begun to think that they're going to financially benefit from this, they're going to have to be very patient, because it's going to take a while before these things are decided. So the last bit of how to make sure that your money lives on forever is to sit down with a financial advisor, speak with an estate attorney, do a consultation. Talk to them about what is important to you, what your financial goals are, what you want to be done with your money upon your death, what you what you want to see happen with your assets, all the things that you listed, with your accounts that you have listed. And so sometimes I remember a conversation I had with a client, and he was telling me that his spouse had passed away, and that and I was explaining to him that we needed to update the beneficiary form. And he said, well, no, I don't want to do that until I talk to my attorney. And I said, well, when you talk to your attorney, they will tell you that whatever you say with them doesn't matter, because this beneficiary form will supersede everything, because it's a contract. So you most importantly have to update this beneficiary form. So he said, well, let me see. So he went to the attorney and he paid a couple $100 or more, and then the attorney told him to come back to me and update the form. So get a team and listen to the advice that people tell you. And a lot of advice, like things that we've shared here, can save you a lot of money in legal fees, that even if you go talk to an attorney and you have all of these 9 steps done, and you're getting to the last step, number 10, is you're going to go talk to an advisor. Wow, look at all of the time that you have saved, and you can go in there and say, this is all my assets, this is what I want things, these are the beneficiaries that have been updated, I got all that stuff done, you know, boom, just put it in writing for me, and I have everything organized. If not, they're going to give you a list, and you're going to have to fill it all out, and you're going to have to do all the things that we talked about here. So let's use this experience with Prince and allow his life to motivate us to make sure that we get our financial house in order, and that we plan and develop a strategy that our money and our work can live on forever. I mean, and business owners, you have, you know, an additional part that we have to play as business owners when it comes to estate planning. And on May 14th, I'm doing a workshop live in Richmond, Virginia, for business owners. And I think that the workshop, we start off with, we're using the 10 principles of AfroEconomics, but we're applying them to you as a business owner, and how these 10 principles are very important to you. We're looking at why knowledge is important, why we need to have strong credit as business owners, why we need to be organized as business owners. And a big part of this whole legacy planning is about organization. And I hope that as the reports start coming in, that they will find out that Prince was very organized. He did think about these things, but if he didn't, let's just make sure that we allow his life to motivate us to become organized about our legacy. Please subscribe to my channel. Please, I encourage you to support AfroEconomics and participate each Wednesday. Allow me to send you the updates by subscribing to the channel, and click like. I like to be liked. Have a great day. And I'm JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm, the home of AfroEconomics. Take care. God bless you. Bye-bye.